A player brings a teammate to a workout, +1. For years, coaches have talked about culture. Now they can measure it. He encourages a teammate after a tough rep, +1. A player stays after the workout to help rack the weights, +1. What gets recognized gets repeated. Speed matters, strength matters, but so does leadership. Now you can score both.
So I'm talking to Greg, and I've known Greg for a long time. Before he got the head job at Wichita Falls Legacy, he was with Kurt Thor, who a lot of y'all know. If you haven't listened to the podcast about the 4 T-shirts, greatness. And so Greg is a good guy. And I've always respected him. He's always been one of those guys. One time I went to watch Lake Ridge's boot camp and he's there. And so I've seen Greg multiple times and he's always professional. And so I texted him and I said, can I show you OBR? And he lets me. And I started asking him about his new job. And he starts going down this path of what his vision is. And they were 0-10 before he got there and how he's working it. And it was awesome. And it was just, it's like, oh God, this would be so much fun. You know, like I'd love to be one of Greg's assistants and be a part of this. I said, here's how I do things. I think about them 1 second. And I said, Greg, I need you on my podcast. We need to talk about this. Greg, honored you're on here, buddy. Thanks for being a part of this podcast.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Give us the 30,000 foot view of how long you've been coaching. Give people how long you've been coaching, how long you've been a head coach, how long you've been at Legacy.
Shocking to me, this is about to start my year. Went by really fast. I remember my first and second year of coaching. So it's surreal when I start thinking about how long I've been doing this. I'm just grateful to be doing this for that long. I'm about to start my second year at Wichita Falls Legacy. It's a brand new school that's about to be on its third year opening. It's a very unique job, as we talked about the other day, and it has its own different sets of challenges and issues that I have to address every single day. But I don't even know where I'll start.
So, okay, do this for me. Eric, I'm fixing to text you that I want you more involved in this. All right. We both lost to him on that corner route, so you and I both can grill him. Greg, you grew up in Wichita Falls.
No, I grew up in Fort Worth.
You did? Okay. I don't know why.
Now, I went to Midwestern State.
So you've worked for Hal Watson?
Hal Watson, Gary Joseph.
Wow. Kurt Thor.
John Kay, Kurt Thor, Jack Alvarez.
Oh, my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
So this podcast is all about helping people become better coaches. Here's something you can get from that comment right there. Don't worry about what your title is.
Mm-hmm.
Work for a legend. Mm-hmm. Don't go be a DC at some school that's never going to win and they don't do things great. It's not professional. Go be a position coach under a legend, and your career will go better. Tell us something, Greg. We're just going to have fun with this.
Yeah, let's do it.
Think about Coach Alvarez, Coach Joseph. What is one thing you've learned from any of those guys that if you could put on 100-foot billboard on the interstate, what would it be?
Oh, man, Coach. I've learned so much from all these guys. I would say be on time. Just be on time. A lot of things fix itself when you're on time. If I can get one more, be where you're supposed to be.
Now, you're talking to young coaches, right? Young coaches.
Be where you're supposed to be. If you have locker room duty, be in the locker room because that's where most stuff go down in the locker room. The worst thing to come back to me is, Coach, there was a fight, and I'll say, where was Coach such and such? Oh, Coach, I was – now we have a bigger issue.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The coach who – and we all have had these coaches, and Kevin, this has got to be your goal, Kevin. At North Forney, I had a guy named Steve Ford, and any assignment I gave to Steve, I never had to check if it was going to happen or not. And you think, well, that sounds so simple. It's not. Yeah, Greg, you're making a great point.
No,
If someone gives you an assignment and they don't have to check in on you, you're going to get promoted.
absolutely. You build your resume every day,
Yes. It's awesome.
every single day.
For you guys out of state, Hal Wasson was the head coach at South Lake Carroll. Coach Joseph, Katie, right? I mean, just
John K. North Shore,
oh
Jack
yeah,
Alvarez, Ennis,
yeah.
Cuero. I mean, it's just,
All these guys won state titles.
mhm.
Greg, I didn't realize your resume is unbelievable. They're not just hiring Greg Davis, they're hiring Mount Rushmore of people you've worked for.
It's going to come off like I'm being like trying to show my ego here, but I'm not, coach. I promise. I've been blessed to be able to get in the room with a lot of these guys, and they've been able to trust the word of other coaches to give me an opportunity when I needed that opportunity. I've been a part of leadership changes that was not anything to do with me, but you also want to go work for a legend, like you say.
Yep.
One guy picks up a phone call, and there you go. I'm definitely blessed in the area of who I've been able to work for and those particular programs. They're all different.
Man, I just want to stay on this, but
Mhm.
what's your advice to someone who is a coach?
Yeah.
And man, they know they're doing a good job. They want to be a head coach so bad. What's your advice? It's hard to get a head coaching job from a position coach. You probably need to be a coordinator. But man, what would Gary Joseph or Kurt Thor say to a young position coach? Or what would you say? What should be your train of action to move up?
I can only speak from me because all of those guys are different. As we talked about assigned task, be good at the little things.
Yeah.
If your job is to make a roster, I need you to compete with the other school. When they turn in a roster to me before the game, my roster needs to look better than their roster because we have to do a roster exchange. So everything that we do is about competing and doing the job to the best of your ability. That's what gets my attention. So to me, it doesn't matter how long you've been coaching. You got to been, coaching 5, 10 years before you're a coordinator. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think it's more, can you get a job done in a timely manner? And the quality of that job grabs my attention to say, hey, you're ready to be a head coach.
Never heard anyone say that before, Greg. You should compete on the roster that you're making. It should be better than Burt Burnett's roster. That's really good stuff. And when I was an assistant, I didn't think anybody noticed, but they do.
They do.
They notice everything.
So,
Lester, you grew up around Wichita Falls.
Yes.
What do you know about Wichita Falls and the situation? Greg, you and Coach Lester can talk about the situation that Coach Davis took over. Tell us a little bit about how you got the job and what it is you walked into. Eric, you can probably lead this better because you've coached in Wichita.
Coach, I could tell it. Greg probably won't say it, but it's one of the most racial divided towns I've ever been a part of. When they say east side, there's an east side. They say across the tracks, there's across the tracks. When they say that kid is from across the tracks, they meant that. And I'll be honest with you, Coach. I played that to our favor when I was at Wichita Falls Rider. Before we got to Rider, they wasn't winning, and we attacked that situation. We made those kids feel like they belong. They were seen. They were heard. You don't have to go to the predominantly black school to fit in. We'll get you whatever you want. You'll be the person here. You'll be a star. And we catered to that. We did that. Now, we didn't promise them anything. We didn't do anything different. I watched when they closed all 3 schools and opened 2, which one was going to be the school that could attract the East Side kids. And Coach, when you attract the East Side kids, I'm going to be as honest and as transparent as I can because I don't work in Wichita Falls ISD.
Absolutely.
You got to be prepared to take on what comes with attracting those East Side kids. You're not going to have the strongest booster club. You're going to have to work around that. You're not going to have the strongest parental support. You have to work around that. You're going to be the most important. That's how you get the kids. You got to be the most important person in that player's life.
Absolutely.
Your mom, dad, uncle, You're a recruiting coordinator. You're everything that kid needs to
Mhm.
and your coaching staff has to understand that as well. It can't be a one-man show. They got to understand that if that kid say he doesn't have a ride, he doesn't have a ride. And when you take that kid home and there's 4 cars parked in that driveway, he still
Mhm.
doesn't have a
He
ride.
still did, yeah.
So, Greg, is he describing you walked into at Legacy?
Coach 1000% throw a little gasoline on it and set it on fire.
You knew coming in, but
Mhm.
I'm telling you, when you told me this story last week, I thought this is great for our podcast. So you were enthusiastic about how you were going to change the mindset and stuff. So, Coach Lester, you painted a great picture because Greg can't say all that stuff. Greg, if someone's listening has that situation, what can they copy? What cheat sheet can they get from you?
It's going to start with being consistent. You got to be prepared to start over every day, like yesterday did not count. Every single day is a brand new day, and you have to understand that. I walked into a building where my kids were hurting just through various different things. They went 0-10 the previous season before. It's rough on a community. They're getting hit from the band, they're getting hit from tennis, golf, all the sports that you don't think that it would affect, it actually affect. I got hired mid-March and I would go to a basketball game and you hear 0-10 chants. What it was.
So even though it's a basketball game, just for people in other states, the opposing student section is going to chant 0-10 if your football team didn't win a game.
So you're managing and looking at all of these different emotions that are affecting the kids here. I'm like, golly, we got to go to work. So one of our issues was we had to rebrand. We had to change the way people view our school. You don't need to say, hey, I'm going to Legacy. And they're like, oh my God, why would you do that? They don't play good football. So I spent a lot of times in elementary schools, starting with my elementary schools. Most coaches will say, you got to get in your middle schools. No, you got to get all the way down to however many elementary schools you have and start that relationship with them. Because, especially as Coach Lester talked about the East Side kids, the Pee Wee coach is the first most influential person that they listen to. So you got to meet them at that particular level so that you can get their trust and build on it before they even get to middle school. So we're spending a whole bunch of time at our elementary schools, hanging out in classrooms, reading to them, having player autograph signings, High Five Fridays. I mean, we're just trying to rebrand. I've taken more pictures than I would like, but that's what we had to do. And that was just the starting point, just on a rebranding. And I'm still tired, but it's all good.
Yeah, Coach Thor is on here. Coach, so cool you're on here, man.
It is.
Get ready, Coach Thor. You're not going to escape this without talking. But I think it's okay for me to say this. One day, y'all, I'm at SMU football practice, and Sonny Dykes is the head coach, and we're chatting. And he said something that amazed me. He said, Randy, we at SMU, one of our things is we got to get into the Pee Wee thing in Dallas because Pee Wee
Mhm,
football in Dallas is a big deal.
mhm,
And those kids are more loyal to their
mhm,
Pee Wee coaches and their Pee
mhm,
Wee teams than some of their high schools.
mhm.
I'm like, what did you just say? I think people need to make sure everybody's listening to this. If you're at a place that has little kids like that, make sure they grow up believing in blue and gold. That's good stuff right there. Here was the hardest thing for me, Greg, was I got to Poteet and I'm going to get hired that night by the school board.
Okay.
And Poteet, y'all, they were 1-19 before I got there. And the only reason I took it's because I was tired of mowing at this little town and wanted a pay raise. I knew it was going to take a long time to build it, but I'll never, if I'm 100, I'll never forget this. I meet with one of the coaches in the head coach's office, and I'm going to go to the school board meeting in 2 hours and be officially named. And I said, Coach, tell me something about this job that I don't probably understand. And he says, here's what you don't understand. the band makes fun of the football team. I said, what did you say, Coach? What? He said, Coach, the band is really good here, and they make fun of us. So for me, it was like, okay, I wanted to get some stuff and go to the band hall, but that's not the answer. And so I had to change the logo. I had to figure out something to make our kids feel good about. They got to feel good before they're going to play good. Did you get that feeling that you had to give your kids some confidence, and how'd you do it? How's that story make you feel? All that stuff.
A lot of people have mantras. Ours is Elza. I'm going to talk about my very first day. Okay. You go into an athletic period. You want to monitor how they enter that athletic period. You want to see what the structure that was already in place, what does that look like? And we had very little of that. It's been maybe 45 days since the transition happened to when I got there. So it was pretty much kids can do whatever it is that they wanted to do. So we had to have an all athlete meeting. This wasn't just for football. We talking all athletics, 350 kids in the auditorium, and we got on the same page for 45 minutes. Be on time, be respectful, and work hard. Those are our 3 deals. That's what we go by to this day. We made sure that all of our kids were aligned. We talked about rooting for each other, supporting each other, common consequences that's aligned across all sports. Like if you quit on a coach during season, there's a consequence. If you go to ISS for so many days, there's a contract. We have to put in parameters so that kids root for each other, stay out of trouble, get their grades, align the school on the same page. That was another big deal. So that's one of the first things I had to do.
My first thought when you say that, Greg, is did you get pushback from the volleyball coach or the boys basketball coach or anybody going, hey, man, leave me alone? Did you get any of that?
No, sir. So I took a page out of Coach Thor's book, and I interviewed every single coach on staff, and we asked them, did we do well? What do we need to work on? And what do you need from me? So before I can even visit with all the kids, I already had the feedback from the coaches. We've had conversations on ideas that what do we think that will work for our kids? And it's a very unique situation, Coach, because as Coach Lester said, I have 3 different neighborhoods under one building. So I have the east side or the kids across the track. Then I have country club kids. And then I have more of a middle class area neighborhood of kids. Every single day, you're battling a different theory from a different type of kid. It might be language. It might be theft. It might be fighting. It might be, I'm going to skip practice because I want to go play golf. You have different things that you have to maneuver on a daily basis. So getting that aligned was everything that was worth its weight in gold for me.
How do you, this is a hard question. It's not even a fair question, but how do you take kids who come, because, okay, I've always said this, the hardest jobs aren't the ones with different racial makeups. So I grew up in a little East Texas town, about half white, half African-American, but we were all lower middle class and we didn't have problems. None of us had money. Yeah. But the schools where they have different socioeconomics, I think harder than the race thing. So how do you take, and it's one piece of advice, because it's too generic of a question. What's your one piece of advice for someone that's got different socioeconomics and making it where they all point in the same direction?
The consequences have to be the same every single day. So our kids know it doesn't matter who you are. If you get caught cussing, that's 25 push-ups. And that's from the boys' sports to the girls' sports. So if you came to my school right now and kids were cussing, you're going to hear the kids holding each other accountable. Coach Davis, he got 25. She got 25. And they got to do them. It goes all the way into the classroom. I've gotten kids out of class for their language, and they've had to do 25 push-ups or 50 per how many cuss words they used. They got to do them in the hallway. and they can respect it at the end of the day because everybody's being treated the same way.
Oh, that's a really good point. I've said that to every team I've ever coached. Is you need to enjoy being in this group of people because when you walk out of the field house for the last time, you're going to be discriminated against. And I don't care what, I don't mean just race. I mean, if you're short, if you're overweight, if you're, there's just discrimination. And this is a cocoon of love and all appreciate. So coaches, listen to this, make sure your team room is fair. Make sure you remind them that when they walk out into the real world, they're going to be discriminated against, whether it's intelligence or whatever. So, okay, the school was open 1 year and they went 0-10. And then you got the job in March.
Yep.
Okay. And I've always said it takes 2 off seasons to really, because it's almost as much about them forgetting how it used to be. So now you've been through 2 off seasons. What is going on right now this summer that you think you can help any coach listening to? What are y'all doing in June that other coaches could be doing?
Let me see how I can outword this. They went 0-10. We end up winning our first game. First debut, we won the first game. Now, coach, I've won a state championship before. It was a better feeling than that.
I bet. Yeah.
We're talking, it is a party for 48 hours. I mean, kids are crying, principals are crying, parents are crying. Everybody in the stadium is just crying their eyes out. And we want to harness that. This is what we had to do to win. And what was the result of that? Right now in June, all we talk about is being 1-0. And I'm taking that from Coach Thor because it actually was a real live deal for us. The school's never been 1-0 before. So once we won, they had a vision on, well, maybe coach is just not talking. Now, maybe I can actually believe what comes out of his mouth now. So right now in June, we're doing what most people are doing. We're lifting. Now, we have to go pick up a lot of kids every day. Text messages go off around 6:30 a.m. Coach, I need a ride. I'll pick up 3 kids every morning. I might have my quarterback pick up another 3, and the coaches do their rounds. But we want to make sure that all of our nucleus are here and present. They've been here. I'm excited for us.
Is there anything y'all are doing culture-wise, Coach? You know, I didn't prep you for any of these questions, but anything that y'all are doing culture-wise? Again, I believe Magic coaches are the ones who get people to feel 10 foot tall and bulletproof. And that's, you got to do it when we're not very good. You got to do it beforehand. How are you getting those guys to feel bulletproof to attack this season?
It's been pretty easy, Coach, because we wasn't very strong. So once we've gotten stronger in the weight room, you post those numbers. And now I can't get my kids out the mirror. We have family groups every Wednesday, even in the off season. Most of the time, the quarterback only deals with the quarterback coach or the OC. Same with the receivers. So we mix all the kids up. They go to a different coach every Wednesday. And we just talk about life. We talk about hard work. We talk about getting a job. We talk about emotions and how to keep your emotions in check during intense moments. Each Wednesday is a different topic, and we spend 10 minutes, and then we break out, and then we go lift weights together. We try to do as much of the hard stuff together, and nobody can get out of it. So today was a 15-1-10 day. Don't matter if you say, Coach, I need some water. Coach, my finger hurts. Coach, my elbow hurts. We will stop and do that 15 together. You know?
So you'd say, get some water, but we're not running without you.
Correct.
So however long this takes, it's going to take.
Correct. Go throw up.
Yeah.
You're going to do it on the track.
Yeah.
Go throw up the grass. We'll wait on you. We're going to run this 110 together.
Man, I'm telling y'all, if anybody wants to be on this podcast, just tell me you've taken over a program that sucks, because I think this is fascinating. Where does it start, Greg? Does it start with the players, coaches, parents? Does it start with players or coaches to change the mindset that we're going to turn this around?
For me, it started with me. And I am a gradual change guy. Some guys go in and they want to make changes right now. Well, I have kids, if they don't trust you, they're not going to let you change the way they think and operate and do. So we slowly implemented grade checks. We check them every Wednesday. If you're failing, you got to run the bleachers in the gym the whole period. It's not negotiable.
If you're
But
failing one class,
one class. Coach, I had to do that because the first time I checked grades, the whole program was failing 4 or 5 classes. Every kid, every single kid. This was in the spring, about 83 kids, 85 kids, 4 or 5 classes. So every Wednesday, I sacrifice the time. You run the bleachers during the athletic period. Non-negotiable. But it starts with the head coach. You have to set a tone, coaching acumen, being able to walk into a room. They understand who you are. They know what your voice is. They respect/fear you to where when teachers call, they don't want you to, they want you to say, call mom before you call coach. Yeah, and I don't want to sound bad, but I am the parent to a lot of my boys.
Okay. Well, Coach, 2 things. This podcast, I've probably done 20 episodes. I think it's the first time the word acumen's ever been used. You've won that. But a head coach should be the dad. If you're the head coach, you're the school dad.
Yeah.
What I want my assistant coaches to be the uncles. And the uncles are still in the family, and we're still going to hold them accountable. But man, the head coach, you can't be the uncle. You're the dad. So I love that. So, okay, here we go. Coach Thor, do you mind?
Sir.
What is something that Coach Davis does that's special that another coach could learn from that he's too humble to say about himself?
Number one, he is too humble to say it. That's Greg Davis, right? I'm a much better coach in person because I worked with him. But the main theme that I keep hearing, and that's who Greg is, he is great with people. He didn't rebuild a program, he rebuilt people, coaches, family, kids, teachers. When Greg walks in the door, he builds people who play football. He's just so good at it. I remember a story. I walked in the cafeteria after an athletic period, and we always walked our kids up there so we got another chance to see them. And as they walk in the door, we're sitting in the cafeteria, and I look over, and Greg's talking to an individual who's kind of on the fence about our program. We do some good stuff, but I hear some other stuff. Greg's in a conversation with this person for about 30 minutes. I have no idea what's going on. Greg comes back and tells me, here's what's going on. This individual is kind of on the fence. 2 years later, this individual is one of the biggest backers of our program. That has nothing to do with our program. It's because Greg Davis knows how to build relationships with people. And he saw that individual and had a conversation with him. I had no idea, but that's what Greg does. When you rebuild a program, what's so exciting about him watching that is he's building into people. And that's why he can just be him. And everybody loves him for who he is. That's why he's a dude, because he understands people. And I think when you rebuild a program, he understands that. They all can relate to him. He meets them where they're at and takes them to where they need to go. Greg is smart. He uses the word acumen, so you know he's smart.
Coach.
He's great with people, and he understands that. And he's going to rebuild that program because everywhere he's been, he's made an impact. I know this sounds like the Greg Davis brag show, but it is because I've been able to work with him, and I think that's the secret sauce, knowing how to build people, and the program will take care of itself. And that's what Greg's done.
So, Greg, here's what I don't think people understand. You got to have one-on-one conversations with players. And it sounds like you're probably really good at that. What's your advice? Okay, this is a good one. We just talk real on here. 55-year-old white dude. What's he going to say? Okay, let's say I get back into coaching, and I would know how to do this, but let's just say if I didn't, I need to have one-on-one conversations with African-American kids, East Side kids, kids whose parents are divorced and all this stuff. You know, give us some advice. How do you have one-on-one conversations with kids? Can you give us some tactics for doing that?
I think your daily interaction is what starts the comfortability between you and the kid. If you don't really interact with your kids, you're not going to get them to open up to you in a one-on-one setting. So pretty simple. When it's stretch lines, you interact with the kids doing stretch. You crack jokes. You ask them how their day was. When they go to lunch, know something about them that they didn't know that you knew, because they're kids. All of them talk. All of them express their issues. All of them do stuff on social media. You have to be in the know without them knowing that you're in the know. Around my kids so much, I know all their business. So when they do come into my office, it's just, hey man, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
We built that trust, and it's been months and weeks, and I've fed them pizza. There's so many things that go into it for that relationship, for them to pour out their hearts to me. To them, I'm the person who can fix it. Like, I've had kids today having meltdowns over the 110s. I bring them in the office, and again, they pour their hearts out to me because, again, they want me to fix it. And sometimes it's not football is the issue. It may be something going on at home that caused the meltdown. Coach, can you call my mom? Coach, can you call my dad? Coach, I don't have a ride home. Coach, I don't know what I'm going to eat today. It's different things you have to be in the know of, and you got to separate the football from the person.
Yeah. Oh, Coach, you got to have systems too, guys. So here's a system you can have. I needed systems. When practice was over with, we would walk about 50 yards to the dressing room. I picked out one kid a day to walk with and just talk to him. And you got to come up with some questions, not how's it going, right? But find systems to talk to kids. That's a big deal. So, Coach Luster, you were at North Forney, y'all. Coach Luster was what did we call your name, Coach? If a kid was late, you weren't this angel of death. What were you?
Oh, Coach, I was just the medicine man, Coach. I was the medicine,
But it was something funnier than that. The Grim Reaper, Coach. You were the Grim Reaper. Coach Luster loves everybody, y'all. So he didn't want to be the Grim Reaper. He was the medicine man.
There you go.
Greg, I'm coming back to you in a second, but you were good at the medicine man because you were good with East Side kids. So
all kids. And the reason why it was, I didn't, you get some coaches that they can't discipline kids because their idea of discipline, I'm going to make him quit. I'm going to run him off. That's not what that kid needs. He don't need to be ran off. He needs to be in your program. He needs to be loved. So we would say this, there's two things that you have to do to a cancer. You either treat it, that's why I call myself the medicine man, I'm going to treat it, or you cut it out. If you don't cut it out, it's going to affect your whole locker room, your whole culture, and your program. So I would rather treat it. So what I would do, I use social media. I didn't friend every parent, but I knew every parent was on social media. And you can go to their social media and look at their profiles and know stuff about that parent. And that kid wants to talk to you about something. So today in stretch line, I know one of my kids, he's my receiver, and he's not giving me what I want running the choice route. He's not running full speed. And I know that on his social media, his dad nickname is Buck. And I'm like, all right, Buck Jr., well, what are we going to do today? He started laughing. I said, all right, I'm telling you, man, I'm about to call Buck right now. If you don't pick this up, you want me to call Buck? And he's laughing, but he picks it up because I attached something and made it personal. It didn't take me 5 seconds to go through that kid's dad and just know that his dad was called Buck. And at North Forney, I grew up poor as a single, whatever you say, I had it. I never accepted an excuse for a kid. And every time a kid gave me an excuse, I said, well, hey, look, man, that sounds more like there's a reason than an excuse. If you can identify it, it's no longer an issue. That's your way to try to get over. That'll work everywhere else but here. Keep going. Well, Coach, man, I haven't eaten. Well, man, you've been eating for 15 years. You might not ate what you wanted to last night, but I know you ate. Keep going. And I said, I tell you what, man, you do this here. I kept Pop-Tarts in my office. I'll give you a Pop-Tart. You can eat later, but you're going to keep going. So we never gave those kids an excuse to be what society say they are. I never gave a poor kid a chance to be anything but a North Forney Falcon. I never gave a black kid an excuse, well, hey, the world's going to be against you. No, man, that's your testimony. That's not your excuse. Man, everybody in Wichita Falls, you want to get out of there. You don't want to stay here. I'm going to help you get out. I'm going to make sure you pass in every class. Your mom and dad doing well. They're business owners. You don't want to take over your dad's business. You want to make a name for yourself. So you make it personal, man. And that's what I'm excited. When Greg got the job, we had talked about him being a head coach, man. And I would make phone calls for him for a long time for him to get this head job. And for him to go back to Wichita Falls and just watching the things that he's done, is great. But I want to add, Coach, something to it, man. I'm hearing him doing great things, man. But, Coach, man, this is a little bit about OVR. And, man, I want to see how he will use it. So here's my question to Greg, man. This is kind of how we use it here. Is that, Coach, man, and I learned this from a legend as well. What kids are in on, they're all in on. And what we meant by that is this, man, I will use OVR to fire to my core values, to add fire to my program. I'll make them say, hey, man, go home tonight. Identify one quote, find me a quote or a TikTok or some kind of clip, add this to OVR, that how it shows our core value. And Coach, it's not just me telling them, now it's them identifying it. And if they can identify it, that's a win. I'm giving them, Coach, the cheapest thing is a popsicle. Anybody that posted something on OVR about our core values got a popsicle. Coach, that ice chest will be empty by the end of the day because all 83 kids want that popsicle. But all 83 kids, Coach, are also now talking about our core values and not just me talking about my core values. So, Coach, give me an example. How would you use OVR to add to what you're already doing?
I think it would be best effective. I'm going to have a staff meeting with the teachers because academics is one of the biggest things that I harp on here. If I can get my classroom teachers access to where they can take away points and add points or give negative points and give positive points, I think that will be paramount to our success. I love it. Our kids come to practice on time for the most part, but that will be another way. Hey, if you were in stretch by 3:15, we'll give you a point. Our kids are going to eat it up. They play Madden and 2K and all these dang video games. For me, academics would be the way to go to get an edge academically to help the school continue on a positive school rating.
Yeah, that's great. And your teachers will love it.
Yeah.
Most of them will. Okay, guys, so I just come up with this idea. And if you don't like it, don't tell me because I think it's good. What about this? Every staff should take one day and talk about the team. And here's what I mean. Your O-line coach, let's say we're going to do this on July 25th. So before July 25th, the O-line coach has to do a dossier on every O-lineman. And I mean, learn everything about these kids. Call the parents, and the D-line coach has to do a dossier on the D-lineman. And we're going to spend one day, and they're going to go over these kids, and they're going to tell us everything they can about them. I heard Will Hall say this one time, the head coach at Tulane, when I interviewed him on the Mastermind, that the running back coach can't fuss at a quarterback because he might not know that quarterback's mama might have died 2 days ago, but the running back coach doesn't know it. So we should all try to figure out everything about our kids that makes them tick. And I believe it'd be a great 6 hours of doing a deep dive on your team. Okay. Greg, I've got Kevin Holland in here, who is a star. All love Kevin. Kevin is in his second year, and he's at a middle school in Princeton. Let's go through a scenario for Kevin. Kevin's got an 8th grader who is pretty good, but he's immature and he's acting up in class. And Kevin's going to discipline this kid, but he ain't going to take it. He's going to quit. So put yourself in those shoes. How do you handle that if you're in Kevin's shoes?
So the kid won't do the punishment. He's going to quit before he does the punishment.
Yeah, so here,
but he's a good player.
I get an email from Miss Jones. Eric is a turd, and I need you to discipline him. I'm tired of it. So Kevin's fussing at him. You're going to bear crawl after practice, and he just says, Coach, you can have my stuff. How does he handle that?
You got to coach the good ones the same but different. So I think there's always a middle ground. I like to play the mind game trick. I'm going to give them options. So we're going to say, hey, man, look, I know you say you didn't do it, but I need 1,000 yards of sleds. But you did have a good practice, man. Look, if you can do this, if you survive the rest of the class period, give me 200. But the 200 is exactly what I wanted in the very beginning.
Yes.
All right, coach, I'll do the 200, coach. And you usually always win, but always shoot for really high, give them a couple options, and they usually take the lowest punishment is the one you already wanted, but to them, it's still forever and a day, but you're still going to get what you want.
So basically, what you've done is you've increased the price at Walmart, but you just had a 50% off sale,
Correct.
which works every time. That's a really good answer. I don't think I would have answered it that well. Kevin, is there any situation? Well, this is a good stuff here, Kevin. Was there any situation in your first year coaching that you'd like Coach Davis or just the group for us to chop up?
So we had situations last year where we had, in the place that I was at last year, it was definitely difficult for any coach. And so we had a situation where we had one of our better players. Unfortunately, from our perspective, we know that he has a losing mindset. He ended up getting frustrated in a game. You turn around and he's sitting over by the fence, taking himself off the field, out of the game. We run into the problem of, one, we're right in the middle of a game. Two, he's a good player and we want to keep him in the program. How are we going to address that in that immediate situation? How would you guys address that?
Question.
I think a lot of these things got to be addressed before the season begins. At the high school level, I try not to make those decisions because ultimately it's the kids' team. So I let the current seniors, they are my leadership council, and they make the decision on if players are removed from the program or they get to stay. And if they are going to stay, what is the consequence? They know that from the very beginning. They make a vote. If it's tie, then I make the final decision, but I give them the parameters. Hey, little Johnny walked off the field, was hanging on the gate, but he still wants to be a part of our program. Not a problem. This is what he has to do before the next game. It might be, so we push sleds at my place. So I might say he got 500 yards of sleds or 5 miles, but they will say, Coach, yes or no. We don't want him anymore. And I'm going to live with the kids because they know more than I do about certain kids. And that way, when we get to a parent meeting, I'm protected. I didn't kick them off. The kids kicked them off. It's their team. That's how I do those situations here.
And most kids won't kick somebody off, so they have to be
correct.
Right. Yeah, that's good stuff right there. Coach Startzer, your camera's on. I can edit this. But y'all, Coach Startzer's a veteran coach in Denver. Give us your take on this podcast. Is there anything you'd like to ask Greg or expound on anything we've talked about? We want your knowledge.
So many good things have been said. Taking notes here. The last thing that caught my eye when you're talking about a kid that's almost going to quit, I think Greg's statement is right in there, man. You got to capture their heart somehow and some way. There's that study about a mouse that they put in a bucket of water and let them start to swim around the edge. And if you shut the lights out, they die within 1 to 2 hours because they can't see the edge. But if you turn the lights on and they can see the edge, they'll swim for 2 or 3 days. And I think Coach Davis's point is just that. Let them see the edge a little bit. Let them keep swimming. We was saying in our program, and that's sometimes kids need football more than football needs them. And so we kind of classify our kids that way sometimes. I have the same assistant coaches. I was one of those guys that couldn't maybe see the bigger picture at times where I was going, man, this kid needs to go. And that's exactly what he didn't need to do. We needed to keep him around because that wasn't our calling. I constantly remind my coaches that the game is really a leadership program hidden as a football team. And so it's about building men. And sometimes we'd like it to be easier. Maybe not deal with that kid this year because it'd be easier to get to Friday night, but that's not what it's about. Kudos to you, Coach Davis. When you mentioned being 0-10, I've been there. I was there once in college and once in high school as well. And that's a big hole to dig out of. And what's crazy about it when I look back is that a lot of times we had the same kids, mental mindset that gripped us, and you just could not shake it. You're doing the right stuff. It's fun to hear.
Thank you, Coach.
Here's my take home, and I'm about to give everybody on this gets a chance to answer the same question, but I want to say this. Here's my take home from Greg Davis. You have to want to turn around 0-10 really badly or it's not going to happen. Anyone listening to this can tell Greg is working his tail off. It's not practice, go home. Greg is going and picking up kids. Greg's talking to elementary kids. Greg is selling the program. He's selling the vision. He's making sure girls basketball kids are doing 25 push-ups. And so don't take a bad job if you have low, you're not going to turn it around.
Yep.
Okay, here's how I want to end this. But I want more than Greg to answer because we got studs on here. So today I get an email and a coach bought some leadership lessons from me for captains. And I asked him, here's how I customize these lessons. And I said, Coach, send me some pictures of your uniform and some core values and stuff like that. And he said, Coach, I just got the job 2 days ago. I haven't been there yet, but here's some stuff off the internet. So it's a team in Idaho who hadn't been very good, and this guy is going to start in July. Barry, what's the number one thing you would tell this coach who's starting in July for a bad program he should do?
Build relationships.
Mm-hmm.
One thing is build relationships, man. It took me to go 0-8 to realize that I didn't build relationships. And I'm having conversations with people that didn't think I cared. So if coach don't care, why should I care? So you better build relationships first. And here's the second thing is kids don't play football or sports anymore because they love it. They play because they feel loved. If a coach picks me up, man, that coach wants me to play. He loves me. If coach not letting me fail, he loves me. So they got to feel that they're in a program or in a place where they're loved, because they might not be getting that anywhere else. So they're not us. We play because we loved it. We coach because we love it. We got to make sure these kids feel what we feel. And the only way they're going to feel that, coach, is not, once again, they're not getting it at home. It's the only way they feel love now is coming through the doors of our program. And that's the first thing I would tell them as a coach, man, don't worry about scheme. Don't worry about X's and O's. Make sure that your coaching staff are hugging and loving on these kids. Make sure your coaching staff also feel that you care about them and that you're in it for the long haul, and build relationships with players, kids, coaches in that community. Coach, man, I'm blessed enough to be here, and we do our youth football program out here on my field, and I'm out there high-fiving those guys because I want to know they're loved.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I would tell that guy is, man, build, or you can build a program, you got to build relationships.
Great. Coach Thor, you mind answering this?
Yeah, I would agree with what Luster said. I think you build relationships and you build trust so you find the right problems to fix. I think there's nothing worse than fixing the wrong problem. You'll never recover. And I think that comes from building relationships and building trust.
I just want to reiterate this, guys. Building a relationship is one-on-one conversation. It's meeting with them. It's not building a relationship is not standing in front of your team and you telling them about your glory days in middle school. It is one-on-one. And somebody said this, I think it was you, Greg, in the stretching lines, if you say something about Tommy that he doesn't know you knew about him, oh my goodness. He loves that. How does Coach know that? Good stuff. Coach Christmas, how about you, buddy? What's your one advice for a coach starting in July?
Relationships, trust. Up here in the mountains, 6 years ago, we ended the season with 17 kids, and we didn't know if we were going to have a program after that. Building the relationship with the kids, trust, making it the place to be, having standards, but it was a safe place for the kids to come. Steamboat's a safe place to begin with. It's trying to pull them away from the other sports.
Yeah.
And how can we differentiate? Spring ball, we had 65 kids. The 7th and 8th grade had 60 kids between those two grades. And so it comes down to building those relationships, trust, having staff that loves on the kids. Luckily, I have 10 dudes right now as coaching, where 4 years ago, it was really 3 coaches and a bunch of dads. And that caused issues. And now I have no dads and guys that love football and have played. Things are turning around. So trust, all of those little things that are not X's and O's and the kids need to be seen.
Yeah. Coach Luster has a great way of saying things. They don't play because they love it. They play because they're loved.
Yeah.
Oh, really good, Eric. Coach Startzer, what's your advice to someone? Man, just one thing. And hey, you can't say trust or relationships. It's been taken. You got to do something different.
Coach, if I want to build winners, I got to get them to win at something. So just coming with the right uniform, we're going to celebrate the heck out of it.
Yeah.
We're going to play trash can ball, and I'm going to find the 6 guys that won, and we're going to celebrate it. I've got to give them a reason to believe that they can win at something. So if they've never won, I'm sure they've been beaten down and told how bad they are and all that. I'm going to have my little Champions Club thing is kind of tied in with OVR. There's 100 things we're going to win at today, and it has everything that will feed into the scoreboard in the fall. But right now, it's something as stupid as who can do bar hang for the longest. Build champions today. So we're winning, and I think that the sound bites you tie to that become critical.
Here's what I did at Poteet, and I'm going to let you end this thing, Greg. When I got to Poteet, the 1 in 19, here's what I did. I told them every day we were going to be good. I didn't skip a day. I painted a picture. You paint the picture, guys. I didn't think we were going to be any good. We were picked 9th in a 9-team district. We won the first game, and I called my buddy and said, we're not going to go 0-10. I didn't think we were going to be any good, but here's what I told my kids. We're going to be so good, fellas, they're going to make a movie about us. Like, I just painted the picture. Tell them every day. People have asked me before, what if y'all end up not being good, Coach? Well, they're not going to come back and be mad, but I'm going to paint the vision, and Will Ferrell's going to play me, and Medea's going to play this coach, and Jackie Chan's going to play this coach. We painted the picture. Here's how I think you do it. We're going to get good at this today. I remember – this is back when we were Tony Franklin. We're going to run stick today. I'm going to show y'all what stick is. And at the end of today, we're going to be good at stick. Man, they believed me. Every day, you got to tell them. Every day, you got to tell them. Greg, when you walked in, the legacy, you knew what you were battling, and you had that team meeting with everybody. What was your first thing you did that we haven't talked about? Your advice, man, what's somebody got to do to get kids to believe? What's your number one thing?
Lead with love. When you go 0-10, they don't get a lot of love. They get a lot of embarrassing moments and hatred and jokes. I tell them I love them every single day. We're coming into a school where there were no signs on the wall, no pictures on the wall. It's just a clean canvas. We had a really cool photo of the kids celebrating the first win, and we put that on the wall. We called Waterboy Graphics and put one big mural celebrating that school's first win, and they walk by it every single day. So if they want that feeling again, it's right there in front of them. We're trying to build it here. I'm happy I took the job. It's hard work, but it's a good job. Kids are great. Staff is great. Community is great. We even have our own Pee-wee farm system now called the Hilltop Leopards, which is my elementary school kids' Pee-wee team. So that now they'll go from elementary school playing for me, running our offense, defense, practicing how I want them to practice. Then they'll go to middle school and do the same thing, and then they'll come to legacy as high schoolers. So we're building it from the ground up, but we're doing it the right way.
And I just have to say this. It's going to work. Like everybody listening to this realizes it. There's not I wonder if Greg's going to get this done. Dude, everybody knows. Everybody that can coach is listening to this going, this dude's going to get it done. Because you're working so hard, man. Like you have the energy and you're doing it. You're doing all the right things. It takes a lot of work to turn one around.
Oh, yeah.
And when I took over at Poteet, my principal said, Coach, our kids won't wear Poteet shirts around town because they get made fun of. Make sure, guys, that you're the message. You're telling them every day, and you're leading with love, because these kids are getting made fun of, and they need to know somebody believes in them.
Now, I got a question for you, because all of y'all been head coaches longer than me. Does the days ever get shorter? Because every day is a long day for me. We're talking up at 6, and if you're lucky in bed by 9, that's if you're lucky, because I got this Pee Wee team want me to come to practice, and this middle school kid needs a ride home. I got to wait until the parents get there because they don't have a key. So we're in the car for an hour until mom gets home. Then I got to go coach. It is crazy here sometimes. Just yesterday, we have summer league basketball. And the moment I leave to get a bite to eat, the ceiling falls out. We almost have to have a fight. Two coaches from other schools start arguing. It's just my days never really are short here. Always a long day.
Okay, I got two things. Number one, please be taking notes because I will help you write this book in 10 years.
Okay. Yes, sir.
This sounds like it could be a great podcast, The Days of Greg Davis,
Yeah.
But if you have systems in place, your days are going to get shorter eventually. Okay. Only if you have systems. Coaches are listening to this who don't have systems, and they solve the same problems every day with different answers. And so I think the more systems you have in place, the better things are going to get. And you can't do it, man, Greg. I do believe this. Head coaches, you can't farm out to your assistants turning 0-10. You have to lead the way as a head coach. But I'm going to talk out both sides of my mouth a little bit. Once you've been there another year or two, if you don't have coordinators who are really helping you with some heavy lifting, you got to get some different ones, Yeah. So have systems in place and make sure that you got guys who can help you, and don't do it all. I think early on, you sort of have to be that guy, but every year you're there, I think you ought to be able to delegate a little bit more. I'd love to hear from somebody else answer this question.
I'll throw out there. When I first heard that question, the first thing I thought of was my days don't seem to get shorter. I'm on my second rebuild, and we're finally at the plateau of my second rebuild where we're good and we get ranked and all that kind of stuff. But when I got here, 23 kids and they'd lost 17 of 20. It reminds me of Bill Parcells that said, coaching is nothing more than solve enough problems before they fire you. You're solving problems constantly, and the problems change a little bit. So now I got a bunch of kids that want to come to the school, but now I got kids fighting over positions. Coach Thor's mention of knowing which problems to address the most is spot on, because there's just some stuff that will soak up your time that you don't get enough ROI on. So I've learned I'm not going to deal with this. It's just not enough ROI. And I've heard on this podcast before someone talk about, Coach, don't water the weeds, because you're going to sit there a long time and water weeds, man, and it'll kill you. So you're doing the right stuff. And this will be my last comment. I think everyone should acknowledge some of the best coaching I ever did was when we were 0-10. Man, you are pounding the pavement and working your tail off. It's pretty easy when you get 4 or 5 D1 kids out there running around. You close your eyes and call the play because you got the best guys. You're doing the right stuff, man. And these kids, they'll talk the rest of their life about the work you're putting in right now.
Thank you.
Coach, man, from a man who the answer is always yes, I had to learn to value my yes more than the people that were asking me, because they're always going to ask you. And if you always say yes, Coach, you're not going to survive. You want to be all things for all people, Coach. That's not fair to you.
Yeah.
They're always going to ask. I was asked, hey, I need you to come speak at a church, Coach. We love you. They're going to feed on, man, I heard you. Hey, Coach, I want you to come speak to my youth league, Coach. Hey, man, Coach, I got these players. They want to come play for you. But, man, they got to come. You got to come over here and you got to see them. You got to be here. You got to be here. And you're like, honestly, how about this? What if I have a youth camp and all these kids you want me to come see, you bring them to me? Mm-hmm. How about we have a men's day and I speak to all the churches at one time? Everybody wants the hookup. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants the Greg Davis hookup. Yep. I want Greg all to myself, and it's not enough Greg to go around. In Wichita Falls, they're going to ask you to come help them out daily. Coach, my son needs this. Mm-hmm. Guard your yes. And don't be afraid to say no, because, man, my kids need this. My last saying is this, Coach. No one's going to remember how much you did for other kids.
Greg, you're my new favorite coach. And I mean that sincerely, Coach Luster. You're a solid number 2. I love hearing you talk about what you're doing. And you are going to succeed because you're not. I always thought this. I thought I could will my team to win. I could will them. I'm going to do everything, and we're going to find a way to win because they're going to believe, and we're going to take care of the football, and I'm just going to will them to win. I think you have that. You can hear yourself talk. I hear you talking. I think Greg's just going to will this program to be great. And I can't wait to see it happen, buddy.
Yes.
Put it on your calendar, January, to be back on this podcast so we can talk about your success.
10-4.